Welcome to The Power and the Pain, where your past isn't your prison.
It's the fuel for your purpose.
I'm Greg Pihs, combat veteran, NLP trainer, and your guide to turn trauma into triumph. This is The Power and the Pain. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Power and the Pain, where we're transforming trauma into triumph. And today I want to talk about NLP and self-hypnosis. Ooh, hypnosis. Before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about hypnosis, because I feel like there's this very, maybe like the word is like stigmatized, right? People immediately when we hear hypnosis, like our guard goes up. Not me. I won't be hypnotized. You're not going to control my mind. So I want to talk a little bit about what is hypnosis, and then we'll talk a little bit about how NLP applies hypnosis to self to create our reality and future that we desire. So what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is nothing more than the mind being hyper-focused on one thing. So focused on this one thing that it's able to delete its surroundings. We've talked about in past episodes our RAS, or our Reticular Activating System. It's part of our brain, and it's kind of like the bodyguard for our brain. Every single second, 2 million bits of information line up to come inside of our mind and be processed. Of these 2 million bits, only about 126 bits are shown to our conscious reality. That's what becomes our bandwidth, what we are aware of. That which we are aware of is our reality. It is real. And all of our reality in that moment is much more than what we are aware of. So there's just more going on. What we are aware of is just a portion of what is going on at any given moment. Now, to create a little bit of awareness for this, when I say we only have an awareness for a portion of what's going on, the rest of the information from the 126 all the way to the 2 million, we delete, distort, and generalize that information. So think of it like we kind of put it into a zip file, and then we store it in our unconscious mind. Our mind, our brain, took in the information and processed the information. So our brain in some way has awareness of the information. We're just not aware that we're aware of that information. Again, kind of like a zip file on a computer. So we delete, distort, and generalize most of this information, and then we focus in on this 126, and that becomes what we're aware of, to create a little bit of an awareness for you. If I were to, and because I'll tell you this, it'll ruin it for you, but you can just try it with your friends. At any point in time, anywhere, any place, have a conversation with someone, show someone a video, and as soon as they walk away, just ask them, hey, what color was that person's shirt? What were they wearing? And all they're going to be able to respond with is generalizations. They had a hat on. There was a short sleeve shirt. It had a bunch of colors. They had pants on, and they had some type of, like it was like boots or something. It's generalized information. They're looking at it. They're trying to peek at it from that zip folder. When they were in front of that person, there's no way that they were not consciously aware at some level of what that person was wearing. But because as soon as that information came in, then it went ahead and got compressed, and we kept reality for maybe they were having a conversation. So then that held the bandwidth. And so we got focused in on over here, and we deleted, distorted, and generalized the rest of the information. When we're in a state of hypnosis or hypnotized, it's nothing more than being in a state of trance. And a state of trance is kind of like driving from that one place back to your house that you've driven 100 times before. And then you drove it that one time, and when you pulled into the driveway, you were like, oh, I didn't even realize I've been driving for the last 35 minutes. Well, you were driving, but you don't even have a conscious recollection of you driving, because your mind became so intently focused on that email that you're going to send out tomorrow, or what your neighbor thinks about this thing, or what you have to do with your kids or for your relatives, or whatever the case may be, that you were able to delete the act of driving. The reason why you were still able to drive while in a state of trance, while you were self-hypnotized. The reason why you were able to still drive is because you have driven so many times that you own the unconscious programming and directions from that place back to your house. You unconsciously own all of the programming, all of the directions. So your unconscious mind was able to say, yeah, you just stay focused on that mission over there. I'll go ahead and take us home. You're driving. You're busy. Stay focused over there. I'll take care of this. That was a state of trance. That was a state of self-hypnosis. Now, all hypnosis is actually self-hypnosis. You see, if we've said it ourselves before, or maybe we have a friend that says, I can't be hypnotized. And they're right. You cannot be hypnotized, but you can choose to allow yourself to enter a state of trance. It's a choice, and it's the only way that you'll actually ever experience hypnosis. The only way you can experience hypnosis is if you choose to allow your mind to go into a state of trance. Furthermore, if you choose to not allow your mind to go into a state of trance, then you will not be hypnotized. So, your friends that say that, and if you've said it before, we're 100% right. You cannot be hypnotized. Now, let's talk about how this applies in NLP. Well, in NLP, we learn through Milton Erickson. Now, Milton Erickson, he was born, I think, 1901, the early I believe it was 1901, and he lived until 1980. And before Milton Erickson, all forms of hypnosis were seen as some type of like witchcraft, trickery, like a bar trick or something of that nature. It was some form of entertainment, but even at that, it wasn't an accepted form of entertainment. It was something that was like, hey, they're playing with the dark magic stuff. Like it's only entertainment, but also they're doing bad things. It's kind of how NLP was looked at, even though most of the elites at the time still utilized hypnosis. Okay. Milton Erickson has a pretty fascinating journey. He was tone deaf, colorblind, dyslexic, born with these programs. And so, as you can imagine, he learned at a very deep level how to communicate through nonverbal cues. And he goes on to, at the age of, I think, right around 18, he contracted polio. He was in the iron lung and was nearly paralyzed. When I say nearly paralyzed, he had maybe slight movement in the neck. Maybe he had slight movement in his arms, possibly. But the legs and the body were 80 to 90% paralyzed. And he was told that he'd never walk again. That was when he was 18. Milton Erickson died walking on both of his feet. I'm not sure of any other stories in which someone has had that experience and actually retaught themselves how to work. He did this through a process of studying other people, which he called modeling, and then a process of self-hypnosis, which nothing really much more than hyper focus in his mind, visualizing individual muscle fibers twitching, and then the combination of these muscle fibers twitching to make an entire muscle twitch, and then the combination of muscles twitching at the same time until he got just the smallest movement. And then he knew he was on to something. He continued this journey. It went for years, and he was able to get himself completely back upright, walking on both of his legs. Now, he did utilize a cane, And again, I don't know anyone else that has been able to overcome this. Now, Milton Erickson understood the process of focus in the mind through his own personal journey. And then he began communicating with others with curiosity. Could I guide their mind to this place so that they could do things that others think are impossible? And with that curiosity, Milton Erickson began to pose questions for people. He utilized suggestive hypnosis to direct people's minds to control focus or create plans for the purpose of helping people heal, overcome, and achieve what they desired. Now, Milton Erickson is accredited with bringing what this used to be as this like bar trick, this entertainment thing, was brought into the realm of clinical hypnosis. And Milton Erickson, again, he's accredited with this. He was actually worked with the government, working with World War II veterans through the process of hypnosis. Now, what Milton Erickson knew was he was only working with people that actually had desire for the thing they said they wanted. And he was just guiding their mind to focus relentlessly on that thing. Remember I was talking about the RAS and the 2 million bits? And the RAS is kind of like a bodyguard for the mind. So every single second, 2 million people line up to get into Club Greg, but only 126 of them are getting to the VIP room. And the RAS is kind of like the bodyguard. He starts through in a nanosecond every time 2 million lines up. And he's like, hey, I need 126 metaphorical people. How does the RAS know which 126 to let into the VIP room? See, that whatever it lets into the VIP room is what I'm aware of. That's the reality that I'm aware of, what we are experiencing. The rest of it we're experiencing it, but we're not even aware of its experience. It doesn't have as much value. How did the RAS know which 126 to let in? Is it just a random pick? No. The RAS is very intentionally selecting every single one of the 126 bits that get into your VIP room, and it is doing so based on your most dominant thoughts that you believe to be true. Your RAS has no clue what to pick for you. It has no bearing. It has no care. It just says, whatever you're most focused on, I'm going to find evidence for you. You're focused on that thing, I'm going to find evidence. And then throughout the day, well, none of us want to admit it, our mind drifts aimlessly with all these crazy thoughts throughout the day. And these crazy thoughts we think things like, I need to figure out how to make more money. Now, no matter how much money you make, your RAS every nanosecond is like, hey, who has evidence that Greg needs to figure out how to make more money? No matter how much I make. Because I am programming my RAS to find evidence, whatever my most dominant thoughts were. Whatever my most dominant thoughts were throughout the day. Now, our thoughts just run wild throughout the day. And if we're not conscious of our thoughts, we're not even sure how the RAS is getting programmed. But what I can tell you to be true is your reality is the output. That's the result. So if you're happy with your reality, it's all irrelevant. Stay where you're at. Do the things that you're doing. If you're looking for change in your reality or your output, we have to alter the input that the RAS is receiving. It is picking 126 every second. That's what you're aware of. If you're happy with all the things you're aware of right now, turn this episode off, come back next week. But if you want change in the reality that you're aware of, we have to start by programming our RAS. Now that we've like destigmatized this word hypnosis, when I first started, some of us might have thought that Greg was implying when we get up in the morning, we got to watch the watch and count down from 10 and realize we're getting sleepy. We're not going to do any of that. We're not going to do any of that. What we're going to do, and what I'm referring to as self-hypnosis, we could call it affirmations, but you don't have to if those feel any kind of way negative for you. You don't have to call it anything. What I want you to do is to start with 3, then go to 5, then you go to 10, and you can continue to increase it as much as you want, but start with 3 things you desire. I mean, they can be material things, but they don't have to be. So, for example, I desire to have discipline in my life. So, one of the things I hypnotize myself with is, I am disciplined. I am disciplined. I enjoy discipline. I grow every time I focus on my discipline. I enjoy being disciplined. The more disciplined I am, the easier it is for me to be disciplined. Right now, you're already starting a state of trance. And if you like it, please use that one. Take it with you. Some of the other ones that I utilize. I am kind. It is very important. I have a strong desire to be kind. Listen, I was about to say I run every day. That's not true, but I'm getting back up to that kind of pace. I run frequently. I don't like running. I run because I want the benefit of running. Okay. So I run. I don't like running. Over here, I like being kind. I desire to be kind. I want to be kind. I'm not always kind, but I want it. See, it's like I don't want running. I want the result, so I discipline myself to go through it. Kind, see, I am disciplined. Kind, that's something I want, and I'm able to easily not do. Easily. Not any of you guys. I know you guys are really kind and all, but it's easy for me to not be kind. I want to be kind. I hypnotize myself. I am kind. I appreciate all the people that are kind to me. I appreciate all the people that show me appreciation because I am kind to them. I know how important it is to be kind. I know what it feels like when someone chooses to be kind to me. I appreciate their kindness, and I choose to utilize kindness. I am kind. Listen, now when we think of affirmations, we could think of like getting up in the morning and like, we get our notebook out and we're like, I am kind, I am disciplined, I am powerful. These are extra ones that I use. I did my affirmations. But I said if you wanted to program your RAS, it has to become your most dominant thought. That's why I refer to it as self-hypnosis versus affirmations. Every time you have an opportunity, every time the thought crosses your mind, speaking for self, I do it. Every time the thought crosses your mind, nothing more is important in that moment. Like if you're actively engaged with someone, like right now, the thought's not accidentally crossing my mind. Hey, do your self-hypnosis, Greg. No, I'm focused on you guys. I want to share this message. However, when I get done with this and I'm driving to my next appointment in my vehicle, my mind's going to start drifting. And at some point in time, I'm going to realize, I'm going to be like, hey, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, oh yeah, I am disciplined. I enjoy being disciplined. The more disciplined I am, the more it is, the easier it is for me to be disciplined. The more I have, the more abundance, the more freedom, the more I choose discipline. I am grateful that I'm choosing discipline right now through my thoughts. Every time throughout the day, I am trying to collect this. I hope that one day I reach a point where I've went through an entire day and I'm like, I couldn't possibly have reframed one more time. But I don't think that's going to happen. How many times can you re-anchor this thought day one? And whatever it is, let's say you anchored that thought 5 times day one. Can you anchor it 7 times on day 2? Can you anchor it 10 times on day 3? Can you anchor it 20 times on day 4? Can you anchor it 50 times on day 5? I promise you, day 6, the world's going to be looking real different. Prove me wrong. Do affirmations. They're powerful. There's a way to really magnify them when we attach emotion. Another episode, another day. More than just affirmations in the morning. I'm talking about deciding 3 things that you know you want. My top 3 that I focus on, the top 3 that I focus on: discipline, kind, powerful. I remind myself I am powerful. The moment I start thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can run another mile. I don't know if they're going to like my idea. I don't know if they're going to accept me. They might judge me in there. My business isn't as big as theirs. And then because I do that constant self-hypnosis, then self says to self, bro, you're powerful. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I am powerful. I was comparing myself to them through one single lens. And if it's important for me to do that, I can continue to do that. However, I now realize through my power, I am me. And I'm going into the room to show them who I am. And I'm going into the room to discover if any of my people happen to already exist in this room. Because I am disciplined, because I am powerful, and because I'm kind. I'm excited to go meet everyone. You see, some of us like the idea of doing this, but we're like, I can't do that. That's just being delusional and goofy. And I'd say you're right. But what you're doing right now on the other side of the coin is being delusional and goofy and negative. Because right now you're thinking, oh, I don't have enough money. They're not going to like me. This is constant. RAS. Who has evidence they don't have enough money? Who has evidence they're not going to like them? Who has evidence he's getting judged? Who has evidence for? We're not going to rid our... maybe it's possible, okay? Right now, I'm not even remotely close to, so it's not even a focal point of, like, and I'm going to suggest to you, like, get rid of the idea of, like, thinking that we are going to rid our mind into, like, we're just going to do something and be purified and everything's good now. No, the mind will keep wandering over and over and over again. If I want something to be a dominant thought, I need something in queue that I'm choosing and committed to, just reviewing the thought as many times as I can. And let's say I only think about it 5 times today. Good. Can I do 7 tomorrow? Because maybe I didn't get to dominant thought on day 1, but maybe by the end of week 1, if we tally all the thoughts, it is now the most dominant thought. Maybe by the end of month 1, it is now the most dominant thought. And at which point in time, your future desires are your dominant thoughts. You've already begun to shift your reality. The RAS is now looking for evidence for these things. You have in your favor momentum. What we say is, oh, it gets so much easier. Seemingly it does. I hate to ruin the ending. Really, you just got stronger. Go through the front end. Once you get to momentum, you can begin riding the wave. So, let's do a little recap. What is self-hypnosis? How it applies to NLP? And how do we apply it to ourselves? All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Nobody can hypnotize anyone. And you might say, well, I went to a show in Las Vegas and I saw him put some people on a stage and a guy was howling at the moon. We can go in more depth later on how this takes place. But in short, in every room, there's a major extrovert that is looking for an opportunity to dance around with the light shade on their head, the lamp shade on their head, and say, the tequila made me do it. So when you go to those stage hypnosis shows, that person is trained. They are picking up on verbal cues and they are finding these extroverts in the room so that they will have fun on stage because they already had the internal desire to be the center of attention. It was just being exploited, if you will. And then the next day, this person will say, the hypnosis made me do it. So no, you cannot be hypnotized. Only you can choose to do self-hypnosis. The people that are on stage howling at the moon like a wolf, they chose to participate because they wanted to have the experience on stage. They wanted the time on stage. So they chose to go along with it. So they had the experience and you got to witness the experience. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, just like that person that got on the stage and howled like a wolf at the moon. They chose. You have to choose to have the experience. How do I have the experience, Greg? Pick 3 things that you desire. I'll encourage you to chunk them up until you can say what that thing is in one word. So if you're like, I want to get more done, like I want to get more done, maybe it's productive, maybe it's discipline, maybe it's obedient, maybe it's hustle. Find a word that represents what this individual action or thing is that you desire. Start with 3 things that you desire. Once you have the word of what these 3 things are, then you're going to talk to yourself about this thing as if it is already done. Because we don't want your RAS. See, if you say like, I want to get stronger. Then the RAS is looking for opportunities in which you get stronger. Well, when do we get stronger? When we work out the muscle and then we go rest it. So if you say, I want to get stronger, you're actually telling your RAS, hey, go find me opportunities where I'm going to really be pushed to my limit. Okay? Whereas if we say, I am strong, you're telling your RAS, hey, go find opportunities in which I'm able to navigate through based on my experiences, seemingly easy. And at the end, I can realize it was because of my strength that I was able to go through that experience because I am strong. So we're going to talk to ourselves about these 3 things that we selected. Start with 3, go to 5, work your way up to 10. Start with just 3. Don't worry about all the rest. These 3 things, because we chunked them up, I am disciplined. That means a lot of things in my life. That means I'm getting up on time. That means I'm eating the right foods when I am. That means I'm working out. That means I'm doing cardiovascular training or running. That means I am doing my meditations. That means I am controlling my mind. That means I'm structuring my household. That means I am structuring my finances because I am disciplined. So when we chunk these up, even 3 goes a long way. Once we pick these 3 things, we're talking to ourselves in any way. We're talking to ourselves as if these things are already so. The reason why we're talking to ourselves as if they are already so, the RAS is listening. It hears everything we say, and everything it listens to, everything we say, internal and external. So whether it's a thought we say it or whether it comes out of our mouth, everything we say, the RAS is listening to, and it's taking notes to go find you evidence. So we want evidence that you already are. I want to see evidence that you already are. Listen, for anyone that's thinking like, well, I don't know, does this actually, I'm not sure if that, try it out. Just experiment. Don't worry about it. If you know it works and you're like, man, I haven't been being disciplined or I didn't know how to do it in a detailed process. Thanks, Greg. This makes total sense. Now I can do it in a detailed process. Or now I can even manifest the discipline I need to manifest the other things I need. If you're like, hey, I'm not really sure if it works. Is that really a thing? Like, can I just manifest these things? Can I self-hypnotize myself into a life? Well, you already did right now with what you have today. Evaluate your most dominant thoughts from the last year, from the last 5 years. Are those things not in your life? They literally are. It's just hard to think like I have to control my thoughts for the next 5 years. No, just for the rest of your life. But remember, once we get to momentum and it happens quickly, we're riding the wave. Pick the 3 things that you desire in the future, chunk them up. We're looking for singular words that have a big impact as they go down, as they chunk down. And then we're talking to ourselves every time you think about this episode, every time you think about Greg, every time you think about NLP, hear NLP, see NLP, anything about firewalking, anytime you see fire, anytime you think the word motivation, inspiration, anytime you hear the word trauma, it's now going to be an anchor for you. You're going to be, oh yeah, where are my thoughts? And if it's anything other than you talking to yourself about these three things as if they already are, just begin talking to yourself as if they already are. Realize it's a choice. So in that moment, if you're like, but I don't know. Hey, it's a choice. I'm just choosing to do this thing. Okay, I am disciplined. I appreciate being disciplined. I'm grateful that I allow myself to be disciplined. The more disciplined I am, the more freedom I have. I enjoy growing my discipline. It is easier and easier to be disciplined the more disciplined I am. And the more disciplined I am and the easier it gets, the more freedom I have. And I'm grateful to have freedom. I'm so glad that I chose to become disciplined. I'm so glad that I am disciplined. My discipline allows me to be kind to others. I am so glad that I choose to be kind. It feels so good knowing that other people have appreciation for me because I am so kind. Pick the three things, start with, you desire in the future. Speak those things to yourself as if they already are. Anytime you think about Greg, the power and the pain, NLP, fire, firewalking, trauma, drifting, anytime these words pop up in your head, they're now an anchor for you. And it reminds you, what am I thinking about? And what am I thinking about? Oh yeah, I'm going to think about these three things that I desire. I'm going to talk to myself in appreciation and gratitude for already having these things. Very quickly, life will begin to change. You will begin to attract new things, and you will find the power in hypnotizing. Got a little tongue-tied there. All right, that's what I have for you guys this week. I'm excited to share with you. I look forward to bringing a powerful message next week. Be great. It's already in you.
If this hit you deep, trust that.
Your pain has power, and your story isn't over.
Follow, share, and send this to someone who you think might benefit.
I'm Greg, and this was The Power in the Pain. Keep stepping into your power.